My name is Nate Wood. I'm the director of culinary medicine at Yale. I'm a primary care doctor and obesity medicine doctor, and really have fun playing with food in my day-to-day job. To me, culinary medicine means giving patients or future healthcare professionals the nutrition knowledge about how to positively impact your health, but then taking that one step further and putting the culinary skills into practice to actually make that happen. So often we tell people what they should and should not eat, and it's hard to really implement that if you don't know how to cook. And so I think culinary medicine really bridges those two disciplines of what to eat and how to make it taste good. So I grew up always loving food, and then broke my leg, spent a lot of time in doctor's appointments, and decided I would become a doctor. Thought food was just going to be a hobby. Loved to cook, loved the Food Network, loved to eat. And then I got to medical school, and I felt this tension between the fact that we weren't learning about nutrition at all in medical school, and all I could think about all day long was just waiting to get home to cook. And realized that cooking and nutrition and food in general could not just be a hobby for me. It was going to have to become part of my life. So desperately, I started searching on Google about how to incorporate food in medicine, and stumbled upon this new field of culinary medicine and the work at the Goldring Center. And I said, I think I could do that. I think I could do that. And I ended up going to culinary school, and then came back to medical school, finished that up, and really felt like I then had all the skills necessary to help patients think about how to incorporate food into their lifestyles and actually make it possible to eat healthy, delicious food from home to better manage their health. And so it really was kind of all the way from med school that I envisioned myself practicing culinary medicine. So that led me to a primary care residency, and I've continued teaching culinary medicine to both medical trainees and then overseeing some fabulous dietitian chefs at Yale who teach culinary medicine to patients, and really thinking about how can we improve the field through research and community outreach and interdisciplinary collaboration. And so it's not something that I just tacked on to my career after a few years. It's almost like it was so important to me, and I was so inspired by the field that I built my whole career around it, and really happy that I did. So I think a lot of doctors will give patients sometimes advice about food. Sometimes it's not accurate at all. And if we're lucky, sometimes it is accurate, but it's never really done from the perspective of someone who loves food. It's like, you know what, you should cut out all salt. You should cut out all fat. You can't ever eat a sweet thing ever again. And that does not resonate with patients, and it would not resonate with me. I've had, physicians tell me similar things. And so what I always emphasize to patients is, I am like you, I love food. I love to eat. I want my food to taste good. And understanding that food and flavor first approach, it's within that lens that I approach nutrition advice for patients. And so I think culinary medicine has really empowered me to do that. And I think it's to the benefit of patients. So I'm a core faculty member in our primary care program, and so I spend a lot of time teaching residents. And our residents are really hungry, pun intended, for this education on how to talk to patients about food. And I think coming into the teaching kitchen and learning about nutrition in a really hands-on and fun way has really motivated them to talk to the patients more about food. And I've been really able to be a mentor in many ways in thinking about how to do that. Something we spend a lot of time talking about is the importance of our registered dietitian colleagues. They have advanced training in how to talk to patients about food. They do internships, they take licensing exams, and they have degrees in nutrition. We as physicians sometimes have very little training in nutrition, of course, and I'm looking forward to the day where that changes. But I think that really focusing on the expertise of our registered dietitian colleagues and encouraging our residents and my fellow colleagues to refer to them has been huge. Our registered nurses in the clinic who help triage concerns of patients know where to find our nutrition resources that we've developed, and so we can all have kind of a cohesive front where we address nutrition with patients, and our patients aren't getting conflicting information from different people. And of course, whenever there's a potluck, I'm obligated to bring something because people know how much I like to cook. I have a lot of people asking me about my experience in culinary medicine and if it would be right for them to pursue additional training in culinary medicine, and my answer is always yes. First of all, it's really fun. Second of all, it can positively impact your life. And then thirdly, it will certainly impact how you care for patients. And so it's less about, me being in the clinic with you and being like, this is how you chop a bell pepper, and more about understanding food in a couple of different contexts, not just how it affects your health, but how to make it taste good and how to make it practical within your daily life to eat healthy, delicious food. And having those kind of three separate pieces of knowledge that culinary medicine gives us, I think allows us to do some cool problem solving with patients in the clinic. So recently I was taking a 24-hour dietary recall, and a patient was telling me about how she was using a lot of caramel macchiato creamer in her coffee. I get it. Caramel tastes good. I love sugar. Cream in coffee is something a lot of people need, right? And so we were thinking together about how to cut back on that. And I think most physicians would say, well, just cut that out. Just drink black coffee. Like, what are you doing? Not helpful. So instead, we're thinking together about maybe you could use a little bit of the caramel macchiato creamer, and then the rest could be a fat-free half and half. Or you could use a little bit of artificial sweeteners or some other non-nutritive sweeteners. And she was open to that idea. Whereas if I had said just cut back, that may have fallen on deaf ears. And so it's understanding foods in these different contexts and being able to do that type of problem solving with patients that I think is really the big advantage of culinary medicine. If I had to choose just one ingredient, that's my favorite. It's really such a close tie between garlic and lemons, but I think garlic. Whenever I write recipes, it's 1 clove per serving, minimum, which I feel like when I read recipes, it's like, oh, for this huge pot of soup, let's do 1 or 2 cloves. And I'm like, in what world? So like dump in the whole clove or the whole head on a, so anyway, a lot of garlic, but I put lemon on everything too. I think it's a big tip for patients. If you feel like the food that you cook at home is just not, comparable to the food you get at restaurants, well, you're probably not using as much salt. You're probably using much less oil. And those are 2 good things. But if you really want to elevate it, acid. So lemon juice, I feel like, is huge for me. So that's one of my favorites. But actually, my favorite dish to cook is a Caesar salad. And so I am convinced that a homemade Caesar dressing, croutons that you make on your own in the oven with some stale bread, a little olive oil, salt, and a lot of pepper, and some spinach to kind of amp up the vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients that you get compared to the standard romaine. So delicious, so easy. Throw some roasted chickpeas on there, some sliced tomatoes, and I could eat that any day all summer.